Hi, everybody. Beth here. I hope that you caught last week's episode where Rattler talks about his early flying career with the F-8 Crusader and some of the interesting aviators who he flew with in those days in his 3 Vietnam tours, as well as his transition to the F-14 Tomcat. Today, we're picking up right after that transition, talking about some of the epic aviators who continued to fly with Rattler in the Tomcat. Thanks for being here. Fast forward to your tour with VF-142, because I think that was with Bad Fred. And if I'm correct, then it was also with Dale Snodgrass. Most people who are listening will know him as Snort. And I know that Snort was a big figure in Bad Fred's memory of that time. But I wonder, do you have any recollections of Snort from that time and from later in your flying career?
I do, yeah. VF-142 was my first fleet Tomcat squadron. And I'd come from the West Coast to the East Coast there at Oceana, and Bad Fred Lewis, and then retired Rear Admiral Lewis, was the XO of the squadron. And Snort was one of the JOs. He was a lieutenant, I think, when I got there. But Snort was the epitome of the fighter pilot, young guy, good looking, Tom Cruise type guy, and he was a superb aviator. There's only one fighter pilot that I know of that was better than Snort, and that was Hoser, it's a trapper. He is without question, Hoser, the best pilot I ever saw. Snort was a close second. Particularly as a JO, I mean, he always had good landing grades, and he could fly the airplane flawlessly. Very confident, very good dog fighter. Everybody likes Snort for multiple reasons, but that's just a few of them. On the other hand, Bad Fred in that squadron, a wonderful leader of men. And everybody looked up to Bad Fred. He was just, that kind of guy that you wanted to follow, because, you're always being watched, even if you're JO or senior officer, you're always being watched, and the impression that you give to your JOs is a lasting impression, and it's amazing, because I remember when I was a JO looking up at my CO, my XO, and even the senior lieutenant commanders, they never knew I was watching them, but I was, and I was learning from them, and that's huge in a squadron. I mean, everybody in a squadron is there because they want to be. They're highly motivated aviators, and they wouldn't be doing anything else. At least when they start off. Sometimes they lose their motivation and somebody drops out for whatever reason, but for the most part, everybody's there because they want to be good, and they have people that they're looking at that they want to be like. And that's what I saw when I went to VF-142. I was a mid-grade. I was an operations officer for when I first got there. So I didn't have to fly with any loser ROs. Not that there were any, but just like pilots, you see good pilots and not so good pilots. You see good ROs and not so good ROs, and you get paired up with a strong pilot might get paired up with a not so strong RO. That's usually the skipper's call, the ops officer's call. But I was blessed to always have good ROs to fly with. It was really, really nice to have that guy back there, like we've said before. And Taco will verify that.
Yeah. Rattler, that's great. And honestly, for my money, 142's logo is probably the best in the Navy. It's too bad that squadron went away.
The Ghost Riders.
So,
Yeah.
Ghost
I
Riders.
was
It's a
going to
great
say,
logo.
what was it?
Yeah.
I had no, I'm going to have
It's
to look that up.
yeah, we should get a picture of it because it's
Yeah.
my favorite. And I always said if I brought a squadron back, that'd be the one I'd want to bring back.
I did the
Rattler.
tail. I designed the tail logo for the Ghost Riders when I was there, and I can send that picture to you also.
No way.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
we're gonna ask about your art later. So that
Yeah.
was part of that. You were doing that when you were active duty, flying the jets, doing the art for the squadron.
I was always doing artwork, Beth. I mean, I've done that all my life. It's a hobby. I enjoy it. It's very therapeutic, and it lends itself well to naval aviation, particularly when somebody's screwed up. I would do cartoons on all my deployments, and almost on a daily basis, somebody would be screwing up, so I'd come up with a cartoon about it. And I've got files of them here at home.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
That I had, when I come down, Taco, I'll bring some with you and show you. But
Please, yeah, that'd be awesome to
it
see.
was these little cartoons. We had mimeograph machines in those days, and you'd take them down to the print shop and get them rolled off. We didn't have, no cell phones, no computer, none of that stuff. So you had to do the best you could with what you had. So yeah, artwork played a big part.
That's so cool.
So along the lines of what you were talking about, being in a squadron and always looking and always watching, I think kind of one of the ways that is used to judge people in a squadron and kind of keep them humbled is their call sign. So can you give us your story of your call sign, if you don't mind?
Yeah, it's a little unusual.
Okay.
When my wife and I were dating, we're both from the same small town, Bedford, Virginia, and we were in high school together, and we started dating when we were in high school, and we'd go out on dates, and we'd go up onto the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is there near where we grew up, at night. And besides parking, we would look for we'd look for rattlesnakes. They would come out on the pavement at night. The pavement would still be warm for the day, so the snakes would come out on the pavement at night. So we'd catch these rattlesnakes, and I'd put them in a cage, take them home. My mom would cook them up. She wouldn't touch them until I cut them up, but she would cook them. And they were very taste just like chicken, But that's what we used to do on dates. So when I got into the Navy, everybody had a call sign. So, people, Alex, what's your call sign? I said, well, I don't know. And it all of a sudden dawned on me, of course, my call sign is Rattler. And that was the genesis of my call sign. It's stuck ever since.
Man,
in fact, she still calls me Rattler. She, my wife. And if she calls me Alex, I know I'm in trouble.
Oh, no. You don't get to choose your own call sign now, do you?
No, you don't get to choose your own call sign.
Yeah, no, it's like hazing at this point. It's like,
it serves a purpose.
You've usually screwed up something by the time you get to the call sign phase, and somebody else tags you with a call sign that you don't necessarily want.
Very true.
You have to carry around that shame for some time. That's a good one, Rattler. I didn't know that. I wish I had known that earlier.
Rattler, I'm going to jump on this one since you brought up your wife. But so you and Deanie have been married for 61 years now. Is that right?
That's right.
So can you, how did you guys do it, through a 20-year military career? There's no secrets in relationships, right? It's just hard work. But what did you guys practice, and what was your hard work to kind of make that a stable and successful marriage? It's still going on.
I still don't believe it happened. It's well, like I said before, I'm a man of faith. I've always been a man of faith, and she has too. And and that faith has carried us through a lot of hard times. I mean, every marriage has ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it is. And how you handle those downs uh, is up to you and your wife and what you believe in at the time. Uh, you can screw it up real bad if you're not careful. Or you can be cool and lean on your faith and what you believe in, and that's what carried us through all these years, particularly the separations. While you're in service, on cruise,
Yeah.
9 months, 10 months, all that gets on not just the aviator, but the wife too. I mean, she puts up with a lot of BS
Yeah.
over time, and kids, mortgage, house, car payments, all this stuff that you would be doing yourself if you were home, but you're not, and she's taking care of it. And some wives just get tired of it, and they're not cut out for it. Fortunately, my wife Dani was she was a real jewel. She put up with a lot of stuff, and she enjoyed a lot of it, and a lot of it she didn't enjoy. But I always told her, I said, if you don't want to do this, I'll get out of the Navy. She said, no, I know this is what you want to do. You stick with it, and we'll make it happen. And we did, and we're still in our dotage now. We look back and smile. It's been great.
That's awesome.
That's a beautiful blessing to have.
Yeah.
I'm so glad for both of you because it's a rarity and it's a very special thing. I didn't have this on the list of questions that I sent you, Rattler, but I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't ask about, you were Fighter Pilot of the Year for Fighter Wing 1. You were the F-14 demo pilot. What were those really neat periods like for you?
Well, it was obviously an honor to be selected as Fighter Pilot of the Year. I got a sneaking suspicion that Bad Fred had a lot to do with that, because he had just left the squadron, VF-142, and gone back to Oceana, and that's the year that I got selected as Fighter Pilot of the Year. So he knew me, and because we had worked together and flown together for quite a while. And I don't know who the other competitors were, or if there were any competitors. He might have been scraping the bottom of the barrel that year. I don't know. But I did look at it as quite an honor to be selected Fighter Pilot of the Year for 1979. Boy, that's a long time ago. I can't believe it.
And with the demo, is it kind of like the demo is today, where you traveling all summer, working on the week, and then weekends you're doing air shows?
Yeah, I did that. I did that 1 year while I was on staff there at Oceana, and just go all over the country there and do air shows in the Tomcat. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and you're able to do stuff that you normally wouldn't be allowed to do, particularly around an airport, and like go fast, go low, do a bunch of different maneuvers and stuff. So I enjoyed that.
That's awesome. Was the Tomcat demo like established at that point? Did you inherit it, or was that something you had to create as far as maneuvers and that?
No, I inherited that. That had been going on for quite a while.
Got it. That's awesome.
Very cool. When it came time for you to transition out of military service, when I asked Bad Fred this question, his answer just cracked me up, because I'm so used to talking to people who really had some difficulty transitioning out of the military and going from their daily life in the military to being, civilian life. But, Bad Fred was like, it took me 9 seconds. So where are you on that scale, Rattler? What was it like to transition out of the Navy and for you going to American Airlines, how was that?
Well, that was obviously apprehension about leaving the job that you'd been in for 20 years and doing something else. I knew that I liked to fly airplanes. I'd like to continue flying airplanes, and the airlines were hiring at the time. So that was kind of a no-brainer for me to apply for the airlines. And I ended up finally with American Airlines and stayed with them for 15 years. The actual transition itself between retirement and starting to work didn't take very long, several months. That was kind of antsy. Is this really going to happen? And where's the money going to come from and all that? But, I figured other people have done it and I can do it too. So once I got hired by American, no problem. And then I was forced retired at 60 because that's what the law says. If they had allowed me to stay longer, I probably would have. But the law was the law, so I retired at 60, took off my rearview mirrors, and never looked back. And then, life is good ever since.
Yeah. And I feel like that's got to be some of the aviation mentality, which I know is something we're going to talk about closer to the end. We kind of skipped around a bit. I didn't know, Mitch, if you wanted to ask about like the aviators who
yeah, I got actually while we're talking still about the transition, I wrote it down. I didn't even put two and two together, but Rat, were you flying in 2001, like during 9/11 with American still?
Yes. I was flying on 9/10.
Okay.
I had just landed at Dulles Airport came from Dallas Fort Worth to Dulles that afternoon on the 10th. And our oldest daughter, Elizabeth, was down at Fairfax Hospital about ready to have her first child. And she was in labor down there, so I rushed down to be with her. Called Deanie. She came up from Virginia Beach. And we spent the night at Elizabeth's house with Greg, her husband. And next morning I woke up and Greg yelled up, "Hey, Rattler, you better get down here. I think you need to see this." And I went downstairs to the TV, and one of the towers was smoking. Or something big had just hit that tower. And nobody knew really what was going on at the time. And shortly thereafter, I was still watching the TV, and I watched the second airplane hit the second tower. I said, "This is bad." And long story short, I didn't fly for a month after that because things got shut down, and slowly cranked back up. But I was there on 9/11.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a changing moment. Like it definitely changed me. I was senior in high school and saw it happen, and just completely. There's a life before and life after moment, kind of. So
now, did that help you decide to go into the military, Taco?
I'd say maybe I wouldn't say it changed my mind, but it definitely cemented things. So my brother was out on deployment for that cruise, and was actually was doing some of the first stuff into Afghanistan afterwards. So we got to go to his fly-in from that, which I think was January of 2002. And I do remember having conversations where it kind of cemented it, where I was like, I need to give this a shot. Like I've thought about it since Top Gun came out, and I was like 4 or 3, I guess. And but that's where it kind of became real of like, this is definitely something I need to fight for and try for. So
yeah, like I said before, Top Gun did more for naval aviation than any Navy recruiting ad I ever saw. I mean, they flocked to join up after Top Gun came out.
Yeah.
Right, it is. It's beloved. People, whenever I tell anyone I meet that, my dad used to be an F-14 Rio, they're like, Top Gun! Or, and it's like,
right, Top Gun.
Oh, if only you knew how he felt about that movie. We did not watch that movie growing up.
It's a love hate, but
Yeah,
I mean,
but it is, and that he
gets
loves
you in
the
the
new
door.
one though. So yeah, it's pretty
Well,
funny.
that's funny. So he likes the
Yeah,
second one. He doesn't like the
yeah,
first one. It's
yeah.
just the
For
star
him,
of the show is the F-14. That's
it's
the
true. It's
that's the
very
I,
true.
highlight. So
you know, I preferred the first movie over the second one, but the second one had better flying scenes.
oh
The
yeah,
Fallon Taco, all the
yeah,
fly over the mountains in the desert. That was great stuff, man. Loved that.
yeah,
I mean, it had some
yeah.
of
It's
that in
just
the
with it.
first one.
Well, the technology moved forward, and
Yeah,
just
for
my
sure.
goodness, yeah, it was
Yep.
like being inside the aircraft. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll have to
yeah,
go
I'll touch on
rewatch both.
have a double watch.
Right, double
Um,
feature.
Rattler, so I guess bringing it back, I know we're kind of jumping around a little bit. So, do you have any other aviators that you flew with over your career that just really either ones you mentored or ones that were your mentors that I think were kind of the most important in your career? And can you kind of talk about them a little bit?
Absolutely. I kind of divide them into two categories: uh, the motivators and the leaders. And sometimes they were one and the same. Uh, like I mentioned, Hoser Satrapa was the epitome of the fighter pilot. When I came along as a JG, I mean, he wasn't much senior to me. He just made lieutenant himself. But he was my flight leader on my first deployment to Vietnam. And I'm looking at all these guys, that VF-124 at Miramar and all. I mean, it was intoxicating watching these guys and listening to their sea stories and what they thought and why they thought it and where they'd screwed up and what they should have done differently and all. Things that I'd never even thought of. And to watch them fly like Hoser, uh, man, I want to be like that, like Hoser. I'll never be as good as Hoser, but I'd like to be like Hoser. He inspired people, young people. When he came back to VF 124, VF 101 there at Oceana as an instructor, those kids worshipped the ground he walked on. They loved it because, he was totally full of bull just to talk to him, but what he said was good. And he knew it and they knew it. And he knew they knew it. And he was inspiration to young people. And I was included in that group. Hoser never wanted to be CNO. He wouldn't have made it anyway. He was not cut out for that. Other people were. And other people that inspired my mentors, people like Bad Fred Lewis. He was my skipper there in VF 142. Jim Rulison, my skipper at Topgun. Chuck Tinker, who was the skipper of my sister squadron on Oriskany. He was the F-8 skipper. I would have loved to have been in his squadron. He was such an inspiring leader. And you see certain people in your career that you just stand in awe of, and that's a few of those people. Like I say, I could go on all night talking about the wonderful people that I admire and would like to emulate, but it would take too long. Like your dad, Beth. I love that guy. And like I say, if he hadn't had his accident, he'd have been at least a 3-star admiral. But unfortunately, that didn't come to pass. But he's a wonderful guy. And a bunch of other guys, the guys we worked with on the Tomcat Monument, all of them, super people. I admire them all. We're all still to this day best friends. Marines, I got a bunch of Marines that are wonderful aviators and good friends. So, that may not be enough of an answer for you, but without going into, lengthy detail, that should suffice for right now.
Yeah, no, I think, and it was a great word you said, intoxicating. I think, whether it's the one person or, a ready room, right? Like your JO
Yes.
ready
Yeah.
room.
Exactly.
It's an intoxicating thing that you kind of chase then for the rest of your career. And if you keep finding it again, it makes it worth it, right? And you keep wanting moving.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you
well said.
obviously remember those days when you were a JO
Hmm.
walking into your first ready room of fighter pilots, saying, "Man, I have died and gone to heaven. This is where I want to be."
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
great.
It was a good time. Yeah. Old. Here I am, old.
We're old. Fighter pilots don't get old.
Yeah.
Aviators stay young.
They just age. They don't get old.
Right, exactly. My dad
Fair
says
enough.
he's still like 18.
Yeah,
And I think that's
that's true.
100% true.
Yeah.
He's still
Emotional
18
intelligence, I am
up
still
here.
18. Yeah.
But that's the cool thing about aviation. And yeah, I think that that's part of that whole lifestyle thing. You stay
Yeah.
young through this work.
Yeah. It's
Um,
Lost Boys.
I want to take one step away from that though, and you mentioned the Tomcat Monument, Rattler, and your artwork is featured very prominently on that installation. So anybody who's listening to this who happens to be at the Virginia Beach oceanfront can go and see some of the things that you've done. But what did it mean to you, or who's in Pensacola? Because there's one in Pensacola too, and maybe one day the West Coast version will get stood up. But what did that project mean to you to participate in it, and what was your creation process like for that?
Well, again, it was another honor to be participate in that evolution. Uh, it all started at Virginia Beach. The A6 guys had a monument very similar. In fact, it's shaped exactly like the one we have. We copied the A6 to try to be a counterpart to theirs. uh, the I think the main motivation came from Dad Fred, your dad, and Bruce Doyle there at Virginia Beach. Said, "Man, we need to memorialize the Tomcat like they memorialized the A6. I mean, we can't let tacticians get away with that." So it started off that way, notionally, and we were trying to figure ways to outdo the A6 people, and that involved some of my artwork and conceptually putting it all together. Was just a lot of fun, and we were a highly motivated group of guys. We'd meet down there at some bar or restaurant in Virginia Beach and brainstorm this and come up with straw men and all that kind of thing, and raise money. That I wasn't a money raiser. Bruce Doyle did most of that, but the bucks kept coming in, and man, we got it done. I was amazed, I really was. But it's a beautiful monument, and it does the F-14 proud, I think. So I'm honored to do that.
It was so special. I loved hearing about it every time you guys would have a meeting, and I had never met Dog until after that monument got put out, and I was like, man, how did I not meet Dog Doyle for my entire life? And then it's so neat, all of the passion and care that went into that.
Dog
It's a very special thing.
He's a wheeler dealer. He knows everybody in Virginia Beach, and I say that a lot of people owe Dog. I'm sure he called in some markers for that monument, but he was a very good motivator for that thing. And Bad Fred, he's a good PR man anyway, and tall, good-looking admiral. Everybody likes Bad Fred. So that's how the monument got built.
Nice.
And Taco, awesome. You got to do one for the Hornet too.
Yeah, eventually. Well, we got to keep flying it for a couple more years first.
Yeah. It's hard. F-14 flew for 36 years.
It's hard to believe that Super Hornets, like, getting up there too. I mean, 97, I think, was the Super Hornet's first flight, so it'll be 30 years here before we know it.
Wow.
Super Hornet too. So the show's called Fighter Pilot's Guide to Living, Rattler, and I think as you kind of look over your career in aviation, military and civilian, what has your career as an aviator, like how has that informed your life and the way you look at life in general?
When I look back on my life, the Navy comes first, and the flying, the people. I learned so much from the Navy and from the people in the Navy that I would never have learned had I pursued a civilian career. I noticed that, when I went to the American Airlines, or any airline, and this is not, I don't mean it to be a pejorative, but you don't see the same camaraderie, you don't see the same mentality in a civilian job that you do in the military, and particularly in our branch of the military. People depend on each other for their lives every day in the military, and you don't see that in the civilian world. The airlines were just a job. It was a good job, but it was just a job. The Navy was and is an adventure in life, and that's what I think about first when I look back on my life. You'll do the same
Well
thing
said.
when you retire too.
Oh, it's definitely the people. That's the, we talked, like Top Gun and the jet was what gets you there, right? But it's the people that makes you say.
Yeah, exactly. It's a wonderful career. I loved it. If the phone rang tomorrow, I'd have my bags packed by lunch. But
I don't know how your wife would feel about that.
Yeah, I wonder what Dee would say.
No more deployments.
Maybe she might start the car for me. I don't know.
You go ahead for a little bit.
Yeah.
Is there any story that you didn't get to tell, Rattler, that you want to part with, or anything that we didn't ask you that you want to be able to share?
I think we've covered the high points. If we were sitting around the table drinking beer, I could come up with a lot more. But
Wednesday.
I'm going to organize that for the future.
Yeah. For this event, I think we've covered most of the bases. Unless you have
thinking future ones, we need it.
I don't have any specific ones, Mitch.
No, I'm good. Thank you so much for your time, Rattler. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
I've
Taco, I'm going to talk to you on Wednesday.
I'll see you on Wednesday. Yes, I will. We'll get some more stories after we crack a beer.
Oh, great. I just get
to... Absolutely.
Well, we'll have to do it again some other time, too.
And
maybe
I'll try to
find involved.
I'll try to find a couple of pictures to send to you, Beth.
Oh, I would love that. I know that people would love to be able to see some of the stuff we talked about. That camouflage work. I can't wait to see all
and I want
to
see these cartoons.
Yes. It reminds me...
Awesome.
You soften the blow of the thing when you turn it into art, right?
It's true. Yeah.
You're a dick.
I've had a lot of people get a hold of me and request copies. Hey, Rattler, you still got that cartoon? Well, they checked. I probably do. I kept journals too on all my cruises.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, a lot of data in there that I could long since forgotten about when people ask me, I can find it.
It would be
I'll bring some of that stuff down, Taco, when I come down.
Love
turn
to
that
see
into
it.
a
Absolutely.
book. Turn it into a book, Rattler. That's my advice as somebody who turns everything into a book.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Exactly.
Right? You should. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of these awesome stories and remembrances and talking about Hoser and Snort, because the more we talk about them, the more their memories get to keep living on, and that's really special. Just thanks so much, Rattler, for doing this with us.
Thank you guys. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks,
See you
Rattler.
later.
We'll see you.
Thanks everybody for listening.